Good morning, Kathy. How are you? Hi, Lorna. Sorry about that. I cut you all off a minute ago. I'm just going to move you back slightly. Get you out of the glare. Is there less glare now? Or more glare? It's okay, is it? Thanks, Kathy. Hi, Caroline. Sorry I cut you all off. Hi, Helen. Perils of live TV. I won't tell you what I did, but I will tell you what I did. My notes for my events, I keep on my mobile phone here. And I thought I'll rest it on the side of my computer, but I rested it on the off button, the on-off button. And my computer said, would you really like to turn your computer off? And that's what I did. Oh, well. You can tell I'm not a professional, right? Okay, so 10 of you online now. Clot. Alrighty, so what do we make the time now? 4 minutes past 10. So as I said to you previous sessions, put a glove on today, get a club in your hand, get moving. We'll be talking there'll be lots of motion today. Get the club moving around your body. We'll give you a couple of drills and exercises to help you stay mobile during the session as well. Thanks, Sue. Hope you're outside as well. I think the sessions are better watched outside. If you can watch on your mobile phone or your iPad and be outside whilst I'm doing the sessions, get yourself moving. It's only half an hour, 40 minutes. And if you're just mobile whilst I'm talking, then you can put into practice what we're talking about. Hi, Jean. That was all my fault. I'm afraid I turned the computer off. I rested my phone. I keep my phone handy with all my notes on for the content, and I rested it on the off button on my computer. You can tell I'm not professional at this, can't you? Okay, 19 people online now. Just give me a shout here. If I move you back, is there too much glare? Can I make a swing from there? Does it look okay? How is that? Is there too much glare there? Yeah, lots of sunny rays. It's gorgeous out here. You're right. So if you can just shout back now. Is there too much glare there, or do you need to come forwards, or is it okay? Voice has lots of echo. Oh, I'm not sure why that is. A little bit more forwards. That looks a lot better to me. When I did the rehearsal videos, this actually gave the least amount of... okay, great stuff. Okay, so 20 people online now. We'll give it 1 more minute just in case. And then we'll start talking. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Helen. Alrighty, what time is it? Okay, so it's 8 minutes past 10. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me on the first tee here. It is really odd not having the place full of members. We're such a busy club here, and to have 5,000 members in our membership and have the place deserted is really quite eerie. Thanks, Gene. All right, sorry, lads, I'm not sure why I've stopped in Scotland. Okay, so first and foremost, I just wanted to say that, like I say, it's a bit odd not having you here, but I do hope you're all staying healthy. I hope you're social distancing, staying occupied, and also staying in touch with each other. I've had lots of responses from people on the videos saying that they've enjoyed having some communication from me and some golf things to talk about. And that's why I'm doing them live, and so it just feels something like our normal Tuesdays together. So why do we play the game? Well, there's lots of reasons to play the game. Friendship being one of the ultimate reasons why I play the game. When I go and play socially, I don't care if I win or lose. I don't care if I play much worse than my normal standard. I try and play as well as I can, but obviously you want to play with your friends, be outside in the fresh air, and also the challenge of the game. I play Sunday mornings on Captain Pro matches, and as long as we have a good time, and as long as I play well, I don't care if I win or lose. And part of the enjoyment of Tuesday mornings is how much social golf we play, and how much friendly golf we play. But we all want to get better, and we want to improve. So what I do on the Saturdays, I have a very deep dive into the science of the swing, and we talk about lots of technical detail. But having a PhD in golf is not going to make you a better golfer. Lots of the game is talking about the art of the game and just understanding what you're trying to achieve. So the principles that I teach are understand your technique, understand your task. And task is a massive, massive part of this game. And then once you understand your technique and your task, how do you manage yourself on the golf course? So technique is the science. There's millions of YouTube videos, books and magazines that will talk about all the detail of all the scientific part of the game. Task is very under talked about. It's one of my favorite things to focus on in my coaching. Do you actually understand what you're trying to achieve with each different club? And on the clubs behind me here, my set of clubs over there, I've got my woods, my mid-irons, and my short irons all lined up in the bag, and I put arrows on the bag. And we're going to talk today about how the club moves towards the target. So we just get an understanding then of how we coordinate our body, coordinate the movements in the swing to achieve what we're trying to do with each club. We simply don't swing or try and swing our wedges the same way as we swing our driver. They're two completely different clubs with completely different needs. And so the arrows and the shafts will all become clear shortly. So let's talk about coordination and exactly what it is. The golf swing is really a motion where the body turns and the hands and arms link in with that movement. So I'm going to tilt you slightly up here, not get too much glare. So our chest and our legs are the real power in a golf swing. And if we make our body move around like this, our hands and arms have to swing into position. If I move my body on the way back, I don't want my hands and arms to get stuck with that movement. I don't want to link so heavily that I get trapped in that movement. Because you know, when you're looking at my swing there, I don't want to swing the club in that direction. Whilst my body goes in that direction, my hands and arms lift up. As I swing down, my left side of my body comes back, and my hands and arms lift up again. So when I'm swinging, I'm looking to coordinate the motion of my hands and arms and my body, but they do go in slightly different directions. My body goes that way because I turn, so my right shoulder goes behind me, my right leg and right hip go behind me, but my hands and arms swing up over this right shoulder here. So when I take out one of these balls here, it's a great exercise this. You pick up any ball you have at home if you have one, turn back and lift the ball over this right shoulder here. The golf swing isn't a vertical lift up here, nor is it a swing behind us here. It's a turn in the body, then up over the shoulders here. As I swing up, lift the ball over this shoulder. As I swing through to this shoulder. Now I'm watching myself there in the video, and as I'm swinging the arms down, I can see the length of my arms and my body on the way through. I'm not letting my arms race ahead of my body, nor am I getting my body racing ahead and leave my hands and arms the ball behind. I'm trying to get everything to coordinate. And that coordination starts when we address the ball. When I hold the club here, I don't have my elbows away from my body. They rest on the side of my body around here. As I move the club backwards and forwards, I'm not gummed in and really stuck, but I am maintaining that triangle and the motion of my body. So I make little half swings. And of course, that's like a little chipping swing, isn't it? So I maintain the connection there between my arms and my body. When I swing the club up, that connection gets a little bit spacious, a little bit lost. And that's where the golf swing becomes hard, because the arms have to leave the body at some stage up here. As I return down, my arms come back into my body. So great exercise. And this is one to do in front of the mirror at home, is take a tie or a piece of thread or whatever, put it underneath your arms, so your arms clutch into the side of the body there, into my rib cage. And when I hold the club up here and I'm talking to you, I just wouldn't have my arms away from my body at all during that motion. I want my hands and arms coordinated into the side of my body here. Then when I make my swing, little half swings, you can see I'm coordinated there. Now this isn't the full swing. This is just a half swing drill, or even a pitching and chipping drill. Now, and what I said to you before, we don't be gummed up or stiff or tight and feel like we're rigid here. Look how loosely I'm holding the club, and I'm moving everything just gently backwards and forwards. To turn that into a full swing, I want to show you one of my favorite videos now. And hopefully, now Hogan was one of the very first pros to really get into coaching of amateur golfers. And his books are incredibly complicated. I mean, really serious stuff and quite chewy. And his choice of words are perfect for him, but they're not always easy to digest in an instruction manual like a golf book. But this exercise here, it's only a 48-second video on a TV show he was doing. It really sums up to me exactly what he was trying to talk about in his books, and it's the essence of his entire coaching. So,
clutch your sides with your elbows and visualize your elbows being attached to your body and your arms instead of at your shoulders. And just start moving your body from right to left, around in a circle, holding your elbows in your side, right in your side. Now, we can't go around a golf course doing this all day, so we must lengthen this swing somewhere or other. You see, this is an absolutely full swing. Isn't that simple? Anyone can do that.
Okay, well, simple to him, that's for sure. Now, the reason why I started with the Hogan video is that Hogan said the best swinger that he'd ever seen was my favorite golf swing of all time, and that's a lady called Mickey Wright. And Mickey Wright had just about the most elegant swing of any touring professional, male or female, that we've ever seen. It's used as reference points to this day by many of the world's top coaches, many of the world's top players. And I want to show you my favorite swing here. This is Mickey Wright. 1 second. Okay, right here. Now look at that, beautiful. Very athletic looking woman anyway. Tall, slender, long levers. But look at that for emotion. Right, slows down now. As she returns the club down, look how her arms stay close to the side of her body during that part of the swing. Arms in close to the body, and then through. So Mickey Wright was Ben Hogan's favorite swing, and she did, not naturally as such, but she worked very hard to achieve the positions that he was talking about in his book. And that video there, look it up. Mickey Wright is spelled with an E, M-I-C-K-E-Y-W-R-I-G-H-T, Mickey Wright. And just, it's hypnotic, that swing. And pay close attention to how she coordinates everything. Her body, hands, and arms are all working as a unit. And when we slow the swing right down, you really see that coordination. So, the coordination starts at address. We hold the club, and you can see here my arms are close to the side of my body. As I drop the club down, and then make those little half swing turns, the body turn and my arms stay quite close to the side of the body. As per the Hogan video, it's only when the swing lengthens that the arms will leave the body. But that basis of the swing, this motion backwards and forwards here, is a really key one and a fantastic drill for all of us to do. Alrighty, so if I then talk about the coordination in the backswing, arms close, turn, the arms lift slightly, coordination on the downswing, the arms are close, through to here, on the way through, the arms leave the body again, and you'll see if I come through here, my arms are free now, but the arms aren't free on the return to the ball. Alrighty, so we're now going to talk about making optimum contact. So let's talk about those arrows that I put on my club earlier. Right, so I'm going to tilt the camera down now. You don't need to see me as such, but you need to see the club and also the arrow. Alrighty, there's the ball. Okay, so I've put an arrow on the shaft of all my clubs here. Can we see it? Yes, perfect. Okay, so what have we got here? I've got here a lofted club, one of my wedges, and I've got an arrow sitting at 90 degrees to the shaft. With a wedge here, and now we're going to talk about the task. What are we trying to achieve with each club that we hit? With a wedge, I want the arrow to be pointing down when I hit the ball. So as I swing, that arrow is on the descent to the ball. And the reason for that is there's so much loft on that club that we want the club to be slightly de-lofted so we get guaranteed strike underneath the ball. Now I'm resting the ball on a tee peg here just so you can see it. But if this club is swinging and it's descending, arrow pointing down, as it meets the ball, the club goes underneath and the ball jumps up in the air. And the reason why we do that with lofted clubs, if I just show you here, the lofted club, if we lean a club forward, you can see that you've got more chance of getting a contact at the back of the ball. So even though we lose a bit of loft off the face, we don't care, because now my arrow's pointing down, it means that I've got more chance of striking a sweet contact. So with all this loft on this sand wedge I've got here, it's got 54 degrees of loft on it. If I tilt my arrow down, it encourages a cleaner, sweeter strike at the back of the ball, but the ball still jumps up in the air. So this metal rod now shows you how much loft is on that club ordinarily. If I hit down here, hit the ball, arrow is descending, look how much loft is still on the club face. That ball will jump up in the air. And we guarantee a sweeter strike when we hit down with the sand wedge. The same applies with my 7-iron here. Again, the arrow is perpendicular to the shaft. I have less loft on this club here, but about 35 degrees on the loft of a normal ladies 7-iron. If my arrow is pointing down and I descend my strike, there's still plenty of loft here on the face for that ball to elevate. I never want to strike this way. My arrow's pointing up now, and the loft of my club is pointing up. That's a massive problem. And if you fall backwards in a swing or lean backwards and the club ascends with a 7-iron sand wedge, you will not hit a nice strike. I'm going to explain how we do that later on. But look at the arrow coming down, comes into contact, and there's still tons of elevation on the club shaft to get the ball airborne. One of my favourite clubs in the bag here is my 21 degree lofted rescue wood, and I've added some loft to it using the net changes here. So I've got about 24 degrees of loft on this club here. Now this is interesting. When I sit the club ordinarily on a tee, I will sit the shaft vertical and my arrow's pointing absolutely on target, and that means the club will hit the ball with around about 24 degrees of loft. If I sit in a divot or a bad lie here, I can tilt the club forwards, put it back in my stance slightly, and encourage the downward strike, but there's still plenty of loft on a 24-degree lofted rescue wood. So your rescue wood is called a rescue wood for a reason. You can use it from all sorts of bad positions. So let me just get into a bit more detail here. That's my arrow, and that's my loft normally. If I incline the club forwards on a bad lie, I've got more chance of striking a sweet spot. Because on a bad lie, of course, the ball sits down. It's underneath here. And that's when you catch it thin. If I incline it forwards, look at that. I get a sweeter strike at the back of the ball. And because there's so much loft on my rescue wood, I don't mind losing a bit of loft because I will gain height. Natural loft, lose a little bit of loft, that ball's still going to come out with some flight on it. Now the driver is a very different proposition now. I only have 9 degrees of loft on my driver. So this club here, this is why we have the ball on such a high tee peg. And most ladies drivers are lofted at sort of anywhere between 12 and 14 degrees. So you'll see here, see the golf ball there? You'll see here, my arrow, you can see it, can't quite tell. Can you see it? Yes, you can. I had the ball so far forward in my stance that when I hit the ball, my arrow slightly ascends. So with the driver, we're looking for the ball to be hit with a club which is going on the way up, the arrow pointing up. Remember, wedges were pointing down, 7-iron pointing down, driver pointing up here. So, got my arrow on my 7-iron here. When we have the driver forward in our stance, imagine this is the driver now, the arrow is pointing up, and that helps us get that lovely smack at the bottom of the ball and really elevate the ball up. Now, lots of lady golfers like to hit the ball low and get the ball running. That's perfect during the summertime, but in wintertime, it's a killer because you can't make the fairways. So what we need to have then is a little bit more loft, get the ball forward in the stance, and that will encourage an arrow going up to meet the back of the ball and send the ball airborne. With our 7-irons, our rescue woods, and our wedges, having that arrow pointing down slightly is absolutely fine. So that's why we change the ball's position. When we look at the Hogan arc, when he's talking about this movement backwards and forwards, we see the club make a sort of semicircle at the bottom of his swing down here. Where we place the ball in that arc is relative to each shot we're trying to hit. We know the lofted clubs, if we put the ball back in the stance, it doesn't matter because they have so much loft on them, it encourages a better contact and the ball pops up in the air. With a driver, we can place the ball forward in the stance because we want the club to get up and under the ball to create all that lovely height. But the driver's only got 12 degrees of loft, not 13 or 14 degrees of loft on it. We're giving it a little bit of a helping hand by hitting it on the way up. So this is all about task today. How do we coordinate the body? And if we make the same movement with all the different clubs in the bag, excuse me, we can put the ball in different positions and not have to swing too differently. That's such a key point there. I can show you loads of videos of the world's best players, male and female, and you wouldn't really know which club they were swinging if you couldn't see the club head, because they swing the same way each time. And that's much easier said than done, because swinging each club, it feels different. It's a heavier club, it's a longer club, different look about it, and also your perspective of the shot you're trying to play is very, very different. But if you can try and make an arc by moving the arms and hands and arms close to the body during the downswing and the through swing, you can then place the ball in different positions to achieve different sorts of heights and different sort of shots that you're trying to play. Alrighty. So, I got a question from Barbara Lord asking me about the importance of the follow-through in the contact with a golf ball. It's a very logical question. Why would we care about something that happens long after the ball has flown? So, just move you back a little bit now. Okay, Barbara, so why is the follow-through so important to the strike? Remember, the golf swing only takes place in less than 2 seconds. It's a 1.5 second motion from when we move the club away to move the club all the way into the finish. So that club only needs to be accelerating for around about half that time, from the downswing all the way through. Now, if we say the swing is 1.5 seconds long, it has to accelerate for 3/4 of a second. So I set myself up here to make sure I don't bash this umbrella. If I make a full-powered swing here now, I know you can't see all of me here. Slow back, fast through, and a bang on the way through. Now, if I only have to be accelerating for 3/4 of a second, every part of that 3/4 of a second has to count. If I don't have a full follow-through, I'll explain what I mean by that in a second, then my club is slowing down at some point. It's not reaching its full velocity during the swing. Now, if I then show you here, Patrick Reed, Tommy Fleetwood, and a whole host of the top Korean lady golfers will finish their iron swings in this position here or here, in a shortened follow-through position. You type in and look at any of the Korean lady golfers, they hit a very crisp iron swing. Not all of them, but quite a few of them will finish in this position here. Now, for them, that's a full enough follow-through. It might not be as aesthetic as the normal sort of wrap-around finish here, but if the body turns to the target, then that's enough of a body turn. That's a full body turn, whether or not my arms finish here or here. Now, for the really crisp hitters of an iron, they often finish in a shortened position here. Tiger Woods does it. McIlroy does it. They go through to here. They don't need the full wraparound swing. So if you're finding that you have a limited follow-through, it's what is limited and what's a negotiable and what's an absolute and what can you work your way around. We've all got to work with the faults in our game, even the world's best players, and some faults aren't as important as one might think. A follow-through is an absolute. Every good player has a follow-through, but they will be negotiable on the length of the hand and arm swing, whether or not they go for a full wraparound finish or a sort of point to the target finish. If your body doesn't fully follow through, your hands and arms can't make even a half follow-through. So in answer to your question, Barbara, the follow-through is the body. If the body turns through, the hands and arms, we can negotiate a little bit on there. I'd say a big hello to Angela Waddingham up in Lancashire, who has been sending me some photographs of a golf course she's put together in the back garden of the house where they are at the moment. So hi to you, Angela. Looks lovely up there. Hope you're having a great time. Now, are there any other questions from anybody who's watching online today about anything I've talked about or anything you'd like to discuss outside of what I've talked about? So I've covered all the topics I want to talk about today. Like I say, I'm going to do this every single Tuesday. So if you do have any questions, you can always send them in to me anyway. richard.harrison@roehamptonclub.co.uk. But are there any other questions about anything that I've talked about today regarding the task of where we place the ball in our stance, how the arrows look during the swing, the coordination, the Ben Hogan video, or the Mickey Wright video? You can just type them into the live chat here. I'll wait for you. See, my club descends, makes contact with the ball. I've got a 5-iron here. Once it's made contact with the ball pings up, and then my club starts to ascend. Just make sure I don't hit that umbrella. Okay, so any questions, anybody? Or are we done? Okay, one final thing you can do is when you've got your putters at home, is get yourself up to a solid wall with your putter, stand with your head close to it here, and then run the putter along the wall. It's a tremendous way of making sure your putter head stays absolutely square. And when you look at a lot of the pros, when they're bored in hotel rooms and what have you, it's one of the things they'll do all the time is run the putter head up and down against a wall, get the putter head moving on a square line. Great exercise while you're at home. Okay, what happens to the left knee during the rotation? Okay, so I'll start there with Sue Lennox. What happens to the left knee during the rotation? On Wednesday, I'm talking about the next stage of the sequence of the swing. Last week, I talked about the feet. And this week, I'm talking about the knees, the legs, the buttocks work in the golf swing. But in answer to your question there, Sue, as I go back, my right knee goes back, and my left knee goes towards my right. That motion there. On the return, that left knee should straighten while this one comes forwards. If you look at old-fashioned swings, there'll be a lot of drive with the knees, and they sort of wrap around, finish round here, and the players would really drive the legs forwards. We don't need to do that so much now because the club is so much better designed. We don't need to sort of slide forward to scoop underneath the ball. If that left knee works correctly, it won't fall forwards like this. It will straighten on the way through. And a great exercise to look at when you're looking in your patio windows or mirrors at home is you can finish a swing and see what it looks like with a bent left knee, and then see what it looks like with a straight left knee. It looks so much more elegant and athletic when the left knee is straight. You can look back at old-fashioned photographs, like I say, and find lots of knee bend, but you won't see it in the modern game. Hi, Richard. On the wedges, when do you open your loft? That's a great question, Denise. Thank you for that. So here I have a 56-degree lofted sand wedge. If I tilt you down now, you can see there I've got 56 degrees on that wedge. If I open the loft, I get 60, 70, 80, 90 degrees of face angle. Now, the big danger with the wedge is at the moment that wedge is pointing at you. If I open a wedge, can you see, all I do is add loft. The club is still pointing upright. Yeah, so there it is. If I open the face, I add loft, and I get a very slight bend in the shaft pointing right. Watch what happens the other way around. If I close the face, look now, wow, that's a hook left. So look at the rotation I'm putting on the club face. I'm doing nothing different. I'm just either opening it and it points up, or I close it and it goes low, 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 low left. That is why many pros favor having a slightly open wedge as a dress. The danger with the wedge is that it can very quickly go left of target if we're not careful. If we hold the face open on a wedge, it just goes higher and less far. If we close the face on a wedge, which good players never do, they would never close the face on a wedge before they hit a golf ball, that ball's going to ping way left. And that's where you really start getting to the understanding of the dynamics of loft on a club. A club which points slightly left here is going to send the ball miles left. A club pointing slightly right, I'd have to really corrupt the club. And I can't stand with the shaft at that angle, it's just not possible, but I can certainly do that with the club. Look at that. Max 5 or 10 degrees of pointing to the right when I open the face. Square, on target, anything left is going way left. So it's never a bad time to open the face on the wedges, Denis, and that's why good players will tend to open the faces much more than close them. Okay, when do you open your loft? Laura, I watched last Friday, and I think you talked about the club, emphasizing the club hitting the ball. You slapped your hand. Again, that's important to what you're saying today. Lorna, it's always important. we're always looking for a square strike. And the point of the different ball positions is that we can't have a square strike the same way with all these different lofts on the club. So what I talked about on Friday, Lauren's absolutely right, is how we smack the back of a golf ball. Remember, oblique is weak in a golf swing. If we have an open face, a closed face, we go under it too much or over it too much, that strike is oblique. We don't get the full smack at the back of the ball. With a wedge, my smack is descending. With a 7-iron, my smack is descending. With my driver, my smack is ascending. Now, in between the rescue and the driver are the fairway woods. And this is when we get into a slightly different set of tuition there, because with a 7-wood, I'd have a slight descending blow. So pop the ball a bit further back in your stance. With a 3-wood or a 5-wood, if you're someone who hits a 3 or a 5-wood, we want those balls to come out low with loads of run. Remember what I said before about some lady golfers get extra distance by hitting the ball very low? We recommend that, and I certainly recommend that for people who are struggling to get some distance in the summertime, but in the wintertime, you've got to put some loft on the ball. Now, a 3-wood and a 5-wood can be quite redundant clubs in the wintertime because they come out too low and just get stuck on the soft fairways. 7-wood, rescue wood, we want a slight descending blow. So the clap which Lorna's talking about is what I talk about all the time. We're looking for a smack at the back of the ball. Driver smack is that, ascending. Wedge smack is that, descending. And we let the loft pop the ball up in the air. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Stay in touch with each other and stay in touch with me. I'll be back on tomorrow talking about swing sequencing. Friday, I'm running a cadets and junior program. And then Saturday, we're getting right back into the technical detail again. And like I said, don't be scared of the technical detail. You may just pick up something which intrigues you or interests you. But at the same token, it's not the be-all and end-all. So thank you very, very much for all your time. Stay healthy, social distance, because we all have to. And I look forward to seeing you on the first tee in hopefully as glorious a weather as we're seeing today. Thank you very much indeed. Cheerio.